Doom: The Dark Ages was released on May 15th, 2025, and acts as a prequel to the 2016 run of the legendary franchise. The game takes place during one of the ancient battles between the Sentinels and the armies of Hell on the planet Argent D'Nur, where you try to stop the demon Prince Azhrak's plans for conquest. In preparation for the release of the new DLC Doom Revelations, we're doing a review of Doom: The Dark Ages. I'm Tom the Wizard Man, and this is the Fake Wizards review of Doom: The Dark Ages. If this video provides you any value at all, please like and subscribe, as we're making reviews practically every single day. Long before the Slayer's battles in 2016 and Doom Eternal, the battle between the armies of Hell and the planet of Argent D'Nur wages on. As the Slayer, you're tasked in repelling the forces of Hell, while being partially controlled by the Makers. The Demon Lord, Prince Azhrak, is fully aware that the Slayer will thwart any attempts at victory, so he seeks to find a new power to take down the Slayer and help him conquer the planet. Fight back the army of demons across Argent D'Nur, Hell, and even the Cosmic Realm. Doom: The Dark Ages gameplay is fundamentally different from Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. Hugo Martin explained that Doom 2016 was run and gun, Doom Eternal was jump and shoot, but in Doom: The Dark Ages, it's stand and fight. Where the other game's focus was on movement, Dark Ages introduces a shield and parrying mechanic that allows you to reflect projectiles and stun attacking demons, opening them up for melee attacks with your fists, flail, or mace. The demons are bulkier, with them being literally bigger or having armor that you have to break through. They introduce leader demons, beefier versions of demon archetypes that are shielded until you can take out the rest of the demon forces. Defeating them gives you upgrades to your health, armor, or ammo. Weapon, shield, and melee upgrades are locked behind gold, rubies, and wraith stones, which you'll find throughout the levels in secret areas, alongside other collectibles like extra lives, codex entries, weapon skins, or figurines. Unfortunately, there's no overworld for you to enjoy your figurine shelf like in Eternal. Levels are primarily arena fights, broken up by platforming or puzzle solving to reach the next arena fight. But there are a few levels where you're just dropped into a giant battlefield, and you take it on however you please. Exploring for secrets and collectibles is approachable with the map showing the icons of what's nearby when you're exploring. However, on those bigger maps, it can be annoying to have to backtrack because you missed one piece of gold that you just didn't see when you were walking around. Additionally, there are segments where you'll pilot giant mechs to take out the larger titans and fly on your mechanized dragon to shoot down Hell airships. There are only a handful of these segments, and they're cool, but I could take them or leave them. Like, I like the dragon, I just don't like flying around. The Dark Ages runs with the medieval aesthetic in level design, character design, and weapon design. The more futuristic or modern weapons in 2016 and Eternal get these medieval renditions like a nail gun, a grinder that fires out shards of skulls, and a ball and chain. The marketing department for this game failed this game in several ways. The first being that they made this game look slow. It's not slow. This game is extremely satisfying with its gunplay and gameplay. Gunning down and brutalizing hordes of demons is awesome, just like in Doom 2016 and in Doom Eternal. The shield introduces parrying and blocking, but it can be used in a bashing attack that lets you dash closer to your foes, or thrown at enemies where it'll deal damage and stun them temporarily. Pretty quickly into the game, you'll get into that combo of parrying, into meleeing, into shield bashing, switching into the chain shot after a parry because you got that upgrade. I love these types of games because they're set up in a way that you just get into this flow state of movement and carnage, and it's just super satisfying to pull off. And in Doom: The Dark Ages, it pulls that off very well. When you're exploring for collectibles, there's like 3, maybe 4 segments where you're just in a hallway with a bunch of Hell Knights. Like, it's simple, but clearing out waves of Hell Knights with the super shotgun is just fun. I really like this game, but there are definitely issues with it. And it doesn't necessarily ruin the experience per se, but it definitely brings it down. Firstly is the gold system. I hate the gold system in this. I really did not care about having to run around and find all of the pieces in each level. In the previous games, there were just specific items that you picked up that either upgraded your suit, weapon, or other mechanics, and they kept part of that with the rubies and wraith stones, but like, you could have had it be like a gold skull or something you pick up. Having it be individual pieces that you could easily miss and now have to redo the whole level again, it's lame. I didn't like it. Second is the shield bashing. It is essentially a dash, but you have to lock onto something to use it. It doesn't function as just a dash that hits enemies. In levels, you'll use the shield to break down walls to progress or find collectibles, but it creates this little window of time where you have to wait and reposition yourself for it to come up for you to use it, And like, sure, it's not that big of a deal, but it messes with the flow of the game. I really wish that they just had it tethered that you can use it as a dash. You didn't have to lock on to something to use it. The third goes to the other marketing failure for this game, and it's just overall story. Part of the story of Prince Azhrak getting the Heart of Argent is needing to go into the cosmic realm to get the energy from Commander Thera. Essentially, this segment of the game is the Doom guy, ripping and tearing through eldritch nightmares in a cosmic horror setting. I loved these zones. The aesthetics and designs were awesome. They nailed it. However, what ends up happening is that it feels like two games that they smashed together. Like, they wanted to make a medieval style of Doom, but they also wanted to do a cosmic horror Doom. And instead of making separate games, they just smushed them together. The cosmic horror stuff is much more interesting, but it being the subplot is just a really unfortunate consequence. Prince Azhrak is boring. He's the evil demon guy that you have to kill at the end of the game. But if the final fight was the Doom guy fighting an awakened Elder God, that would have been cool. That I would have liked to see. The final issue I have with this game is the soundtrack. If you're not aware, Mick Gordon, who did the soundtrack for Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, no longer works on the Doom games. The issue isn't necessarily, oh, Mick Gordon didn't do it, so it's bad. The issue is that Mick's tracks in 2016 and Eternal adds a lot of personality to the game that is missing in this one. It's not bad, it's just during the gameplay, it just sounds like generic metal music. The last piece of this game that I feel compelled to talk about isn't really an issue, but more so an observation. And that's that the Doomslayer doesn't really feel like the Doomslayer in this. A really subtle thing that this game took away was the Doomslayer's personality. And I have to imagine you're saying something to the extent of, what are you talking about the Doomslayer's personality? He doesn't have a personality. Let me explain. In 2016 and Eternal, there are these really brief moments during cutscenes where he interacts with the world in a pantomimed and deliberate rage-filled manner. You see it in the opening scene of 2016, where during the elevator ride, Samuel Hayden tries to justify their actions on Mars. The Slayer cracks his knuckles, looks at the body on the floor, and then punches the screen. It is a completely wordless scene from the Slayer, but as the player, you understand he doesn't agree with what they're doing here. Now he's got to fix the situation, and he's not happy about it. So when you have to turn off the generators in the facility, you don't power them down, you straight up destroy them out of spite. In Eternal, when the Demon Lords try to give him lip, he's ready to break the rules on sight. Or when you go to save Dr. Hayden and you're told to be careful, he just goes, and then he just yeets him into the portal during the hardest cutscene. In the Dark Ages, he doesn't have many of these moments. You only see a glimpse of it when he's dealing with the Makers or during the final boss. Part of that, I think, stems from this game's overuse of using third-person shots. 2016 and Eternal would go from gameplay to an in-game cutscene of you doing actions, most notably of which happened during boss fights. In Eternal, there were segments that went to third person to be more cinematic, but during pivotal moments where you played as the Doomslayer, it would stay in first person. It made it feel like you were playing as the Doomslayer, where in the Dark Ages, you're watching the Doomslayer. There's a disconnect between player and character. Furthering this is the lessening of the glory kills. In the previous two, when you brought an enemy down to a certain health range, they'd be stunned for a period where you'd break into a quick scene of you killing an enemy. The kills range from extremely vicious to flat out goofy. They were a staple of those games. In the Dark Ages, the mechanic is there, but the cutscenes are way more subdued into really just being punching, kicking, or using your melee weapon. There are segments where you use your shield to saw off heads or bisect demons, and the demonic leaders are killed by you literally ripping their hearts out, so the viciousness is still technically there. Again, it's just subdued. I don't think it's a problem per se, but it's something that is definitely worth noting. It's kind of like going to a burger place and getting the house burger, which you always order because it's got that special sauce. And this time around, you get your burger, it's the same meal, but they skimp out on the sauce. It's still the meal you've enjoyed before, but you wanted more sauce. Last time you got the burger, it was drenched in that special sauce. It was great. This time around, not enough sauce. Where Eternal zigged off of 2016, Dark Ages zagged, and I appreciate it for being different. The parry mechanics, levels, and guns are a lot of fun to play around in, but I still believe that Eternal is the superior game. The intricacy of Eternal's combat puzzle, where you manage your weapon resources, movement, demon weaknesses, weapon switching, it's why it's my favorite FPS game. The Dark Ages aiming to be different was a better choice than trying to beat Eternal's design, but in them not competing, Eternal's just continues to be the better game. I played Doom 2016 back in 2016 when they dropped it to $20. I remember it being a big deal at the time, and I was extremely satisfied with my purchase. For Doom the Dark Ages, I feel that same sentiment of this is a game that you pick up when it's on sale. $70 is a lot of money. I don't know if it's worth it for this. I give Doom the Dark Ages a 7 out of 10. If you're interested in playing it, go check it out. If this review provided you any value at all, please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.